Hello, my bookworms. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney. Today we're going to be wrapping up November, setting up for December, and seeing what kind of needs to happen for this last month of the year. Historically, I normally have a monthly wrap up as well as my Spin the Bottle TBR in separate videos, but this month we're doing something completely different. We are tying in my November wrap up, which you will understand why in a second, into the rest of the video, which we'll be chatting about just like the end of the year TBR, things I plan on reading, things I plan on doing. I also have some questions for you. But before we get into it, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. I am honestly so excited every single time I get to work with Skillshare. And even though you might have heard me talk about them before, let me refresh your memory with a very exciting offer. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives where you can go to learn about topics such as illustration, photography, creative writing, all the way to their career focus classes, which involve freelancing, marketing, entrepreneurship, social media, and so much more. Skillshare has literally everything you need to make 2024 the year that your side hustle comes to life. The classes are led by industry pros who have firsthand knowledge and tips and tricks on how to get you there, all alongside a supportive community who is there to cheer you on. So whether you want to brand and grow your own creative business or simply learn how to be more productive, Skillshare will have a class for you. The first 500 people who click the link down in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you so much again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. And now let us get back into the wrap up, the TBR, and the chats. First, let's wrap up November. This video is very unlike me because, like I said, I don't normally join videos together, but in the month of November, I've actually only finished 4 books. A couple of them are pretty chunky, so it definitely checks out a little bit. Also, National Novel Writing Month was in November, and I was really trying to do so, and it was really impossible to write almost 2,000 words a day and also read a lot. Like, there physically was not enough time in the day to read, write, make content, edit, also work my job at the hospital. Like, it literally was impossible. I did my best, and now Caleb and I at least have a new healthy habit of showing up every day and trying to write at least something. So that's great. But it did make my book count suffer this month, so you win some, you lose some. And the month isn't over, so I still have some time to finish another one, which I will discuss in a moment. But 2 of these 4 books are actually in a Greenhouse exclusive reading vlog for my book club. So in that video, I obviously go into great detail on how I feel about the titles. So that being said, we'll give some general thoughts, we'll give some star ratings here, but of course we would love to have you join the Greenhouse. It is the best group of people in the world. I am 100% convinced. So the first book that I read in the month of November was Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. And this is a short little thriller, kind of like an end of the world sort of situation, where this family is renting this Airbnb in this sort of like remote place and wherever they are. And one of the nights that they are there, they get a knock on the door at like 11 p.m. and it's the people who own the Airbnb saying like, something's going on in the city, we're coming back here. Sorry to intrude on your vacation, but this is our house, so we are coming back. The family isn't very thrilled because they're like, we paid for this vacation, but then they soon realize that there's some stuff going on in the world and they don't have any information on it. And it's a book that circles that situation and talks about like who we are and how we act in times of growing uncertainty. And it was really interesting. The writing style was very strange for my brain. I'm pretty sure it's called like third person omniscient, where we know the thoughts and feelings of every single character ever. Like, one sentence will be in one person's head, the very next sentence will be hearing thoughts and feelings from a total different character. And it was really weird for my brain to get used to and wrap around. And a lot of the characters are extremely unlikable, or at least their like core who they are wasn't very inviting. That didn't necessarily like deter me from the book, but that conjoined with the writing style was just really interesting. I ended up giving this book like a 3.5 to 4 star. I liked it, but I do think the envelope could have been pushed a little bit more. Made it a little bit more on the like psychological horror side, or like a deeper character study on these people that we're following. Felt a little bit surface level, and the choice of writing style was just so odd. Every time I think harder about it, the more like uneasy I am. So I liked it, but wasn't my favorite. Next, I read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I have a whole entire entire reading vlog that I'll link down below where I read this and talked about a lot of non-spoilery thoughts as well as a full spoilery discussion at the end of that vlog. So again, I'll link that down below. This one I ended up sort of like a 3.5. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It feels very much like a building book to me. Like, we got some world building, we got some character development, the dragons were great, but it felt rushed. It needed a couple more rounds of edits, and I will continue the series, but hopefully the next one can live up to the hype that was Fourth Wing. The next two are the books that are in that exclusive reading vlog that I told you about. It is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, as well as Rouge by Mona Awad. It's gonna be a fun vlog to edit. I'm actually going to be like hunkering down and doing that tonight and tomorrow. So hopefully that vlog is out before this video is out. But starting with Our Share of Night, it is a very chunky book. Almost 600 pages. It's classified as a horror, and a couple surface level thoughts and star ratings. I feel like the synopsis surrounding this book, the ideas are so cool. It's like an occultist family who believe that they have found the like trick for immortality. And it involves using a person to commune with, I think it's called the darkness. And the darkness will come through that medium and like take offerings and things. It's so cool. The writing is stunning, but it is so long. It took me so long to read it, even with the audiobook. I think that there were certain parts that could have been edited out, even though everything's necessary. I don't know if losing a couple things would have taken away from the story though, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I understand why everything is here, but I wonder if it was all needed, I guess. Regardless, it's like a solid 4-star. I will think about it very fondly, and a couple of the scenes, like a couple of the images that were written will stick in my head for a while, especially with like the body parts and things. If you know, then you know. Then Rouge by Mona Awad. I know that a lot of people haven't really been loving this one. I disagree. And I went into it very cautiously. Like, the reviews on this book were scaring me. I was like, wow, am I finally gonna not like a Mona Awad book? And I was pleasantly surprised that that is not the case. This is a solid 4.25-ish. This is about a main character who loses her sort of like estranged mother, and after she dies, she learns about this high-end, very expensive like beauty spa that she was a part of, and she gets roped into it. It's very strange, very fever dreamy, like all of her books are. It has really good discussion on like the beauty industry and what we would do and give up in order to stay beautiful and have the like ideal complexion sort of thing. And I thought it was written really well. There were parts of the book, like the flashbacks, where I was not as interested in. So now that I'm remembering that, it was a solid 4. Because during those flashbacks, I definitely felt my mind sort of wandering and being like, huh, I don't really care. But the present day, her going through these treatments and things like that, like I thought it was really good. So hey. So now that we have talked about what I read in November, let's talk about what I want to read in December. And if you're wondering, Sydney, why isn't there a Spin the Bottle TBR? And that's because if I did a Spin the Bottle TBR, I wouldn't read any of them. I know what I want to read this last month of the year. They're books that I've wanted to read for a couple months now, and I'm gonna try to squeeze them in. If I played the game, then I would have just used every last reward that I have, and you know, like, why? That's not fun. There'd be no point to even play the game, which is why I'm not, and I'm just gonna tell you about what I want to read this month. First, the book that I have already started and I'm going to try to finish by the end of November, but I'm not going to promise anything. It might bleed into the very beginning of December, but it is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Again, going through the Throne of Glass series. On this book, I think I am just about 50 pages in, so I'm not that far yet, but I foresee myself having good reading chunk time soon after I edit this video. So who knows, I might get pretty far in the next few days. Regardless, this will get read before the end of the year, as well as the tandem read of Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. Will I finish that tandem read before the end of the year? I don't know. But after I finish this, I do plan on starting the tandem read in December. You know what I'm saying? That is a plan. Next, I want to talk about my book club over in my Patreon. The buddy read for this month in November was The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. I am reading this immediately in December, okay? Like I previously mentioned, I do an exclusive vlog for my Patreon every month, and since the previous choices were so chunky, it took me a while to get that vlog out. So I'm a little bit behind, but this will be worth it. I know it because I'm so excited about this book. And the other book in that vlog is going to be Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and I'm gonna make Caleb read it with me. I got him his own copy. So my hockey player will read about this hockey player, and I am not a figure skater or anything, so don't even try to put me in those skates, but it'll be fun. I'm excited for that. It'll be like sort of like a half edition of Weird Words where Caleb and I read things things together. So that will make the fact that this vlog is a little bit late much more worth it. So these books will be getting read in the first half of December for sure. Spells for Forgetting by Adrian Young was on my best books of last year, so I really want to read this before my best books of 2023 video comes out, because I have a high hope that this could be on there, but I'm not going to put those expectations on it. I'm going to go in super chill, but I am really excited. And then Icebreaker is a romance in which the hockey and figure skating team are vying for ice time. Anastasia's figure skating partner gets hurt, so Nathan finds himself swapping skates for tights, and I hear it's good. I hear it's steamy. I think it'll be super fun to read it with Caleb. Then for my book club in December, we are reading A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed, which this, as well as the next book, I think there's a chance they could be on my best books of the year, which is why I'm trying to squeeze them all in. Study for Drowning is my main book club pick, and it's about our main character Effie, who has always loved fairy tales since she was a kid, especially the epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the fairy king and destroys him. And that collection of fairy tales is the only thing that's helping her get through her first term at this prestigious architecture college. And when she hears that the author of this fairy tale epic that she's been in love with for her whole life announces that they are having a contest to redesign that author's home, she feels like it's destiny. But Heareth Manor is an impossible task, a musty, decrepit estate on the brink of crumbling into a hungry sea. And when Effie arrives, she finds Preston, a young literature scholar, studying the author's papers and determined to prove that her favorite author is a fraud. As the two rival students investigate the reclusive author's legacy, they discover that the house's foundation isn't the only thing that can't be trusted. There are dark forces, both mortal and magical, conspiring against them, and the truth may bring them both to ruin. It just sounds like a perfect little concoction of a story. It will be getting read. Then in December, we always do a holiday buddy read, and we have Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. And the tagline is Old Friends, Fake Flames, and New Feelings. Like, that's all I need to know. I really do love a good, like, light holiday romance. I'm not a big Hallmark fan where it's like so heavily like thrown in your face. A little rom-com set around the holidays, like 100% love it to death. So excited to read this with my patrons. Then the other one that I want to get to is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I was supposed to read this in November, but again, it didn't happen. The sequel to the series comes out in December, so I'll read it as soon as I can. But this is a enemies to lovers fantasy about two rival journalists, and it says they find love through a magical connection, and they must face the depths of hell in a war between gods to seal their fate forever. I have heard not one single bad review about this book. I've heard that the atmosphere is perfect, that the romance and the writing is just stellar. I need to read it before the end of the year. Like, it could be on my best books of 2023, and I just simply can't live with myself if I don't read it before this year's over. That's dramatic. Also, every TBR video I normally pick out of my greenhouse compendium jar, but I'm not doing that this month because I'm going to be revamping it for January. So back to our scheduled programming starting then. I'm so excited for it. But yeah, this is the hard TBR for December for sure, as well as Snowed In. I do know that I'm only like 8 books away from hitting 100 books read this year, which would be super fun to do since I haven't done that, I don't think, ever. My Goodreads goal was just 75, which is great, but I think I just hit 92. So I don't know what's gonna happen, like, at all, because on top of these books, there are a couple others that sound really good, like Chain Gang All-Stars. I've been seeing all over the place, and I didn't know what it was about until like 4 days ago, and now I can't stop thinking about it. So if I read that in December, I wouldn't be surprised. And also on my birthday, we went to one of my favorite local indie bookstores, and I got Do Your Worst by Rosie Dannon, Monstrilio by Gerardo Samano Cordova, as well as Natural Beauty by Ling Lin Huang. Like, if I randomly pick up any of these, mind your own business. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. But like, these are fresh new books that have made their way onto my shelf, so I'm really excited about them right now. I don't know, I might read them. But now here's the portion where like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, because I wanted to do videos surrounding the Goodreads Choice Awards, because last year I did reading a couple choices from the fantasy as well as the horror nominations. And at this point, it is the 28th of November, so the second round choices just came out today. And honestly, for the most part of what's left, I've either already read them or I haven't really been that interested in them, at least in the fantasy and horror department. But here's the thing, I know me, I know my brain, and I know I might hyperfixate on it real soon. Like, maybe as soon as I turn off this camera, I'll have a completely different plan for December. Like, literally, who knows? I might decide in 2 hours that I all of a sudden want to do a Goodreads Choice Awards vlog. And if I did, what would you guys want to see? That's what I want to know. I could read like the winner of the categories that I'm interested in, and then maybe read what I think should have won, or read one that I was most interested sit in on the long list, something like that vibe, or I don't have to do anything at all. I don't have to do a single thing with the Goodreads Choice Awards, but I normally do, you know, kind of like a tradition. So let me know if there's anything specific that you guys would like to see for that. And end of the year content is in full force. So I'm obviously going to do like best books and worst books of 2023. Let me know down below if there are any specific end of the year videos other than a bookshelf tour, which I will do when I have the books that I have in the place where I'm gonna leave them for quite a while, which I might be now, but I need to look at them. Don't look at them yet. So other than best, worst, and bookshelf tour, let me know if there's anything else that you specifically love to see at the end of the year, and I will see if I can do so. But other than that, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out the link for that free 1-month trial subscription. While you're down there, leave me the snowflake emoji down below in the comments if you have nothing else to say, as well as subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.